Legend. Wait for it, Daryl.
All right, so if you guys don't know, I'm a big fan and collector of like props, scripts, and stuff like that. And one of my favorite people in all of the Power Rangers that I've ever met is not an actor, but one of the prop makers, Mr. Mark Richardson. And Mark you're like the prop master, right? You've like made all this stuff from like Mighty
Power Rangers, yeah, for the first 10 years I'm the prop master.
Okay, so you've also done stuff like Terminator, Chronicles. What else have you done?
I started off at Trauma doing Class of Nukem High 2, 3, worked for Roger Corman, did everything Power Rangers, everything Saban, Beetleborgs, with TJ over there, Storm, did
Dead listening.
DR Troopers, Piranha 3D, I was the onset for Rob Zombie's Halloween. I did did the shootout for Devil's Rejects. I just done a ton of, I currently was on Lucifer, finished that up, Dead to Me. Right before the strike, I was doing The Old Man with John Lithgow and Jeff Bridges.
Okay, so you mentioned the strike. I wanted to ask you about it because I remember a few years ago you told us a story when you were on Power Rangers. When you guys were trying to union out, you almost went on strike. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, we were trying to get to turn union back in the day, and we were doing Turbo, the movie, and I was working on my truck, and a friend of mine who works with me every once in a while, named Nicky Giovacchini, comes on, and I go, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "I'm you," and I go, "What do you mean you're me?" He goes, "There's a crew around the corner waiting for you guys to strike and walk off, and they're going to take over." I'm like, "Really?" And Jonathan Zakor, the producer, had got an entire crew waiting for us to quit, and they were I think they're getting paid for that day. And I remember nobody quit. We did the whole show. In fact, we never walked away from anything. And how we did turn is Haim Saban had the President of the United States at his house. I called my union rep and said, we need to get the word out that Haim has a non-union show in California. We turned 2 weeks later because Haim didn't want to be badmouthed to when he's working with the president. But that's how he went union. But I remember the day that they had the crew when we're leaving, we're packing up, and Jonathan, who was a great guy, I love Jonathan. They wanted to make more money, But he comes up to me, and it was a disastrous day as far as film crew. They had these little rafts, and we were trying to get it out onto the boat. It was like a pirate ship, and the boats were getting flipped over. We lost camera equipment off the dock. It was just a disastrous day. And Jonathan goes to me, he goes, "Hey, why don't you think the union..." Sorry.
You're good.
"Why don't you think the union came?" And I was like, they were probably watching us and said they didn't want us in the union. But that was our Power Ranger Union Day.
And this was Turbo?
That was Turbo, the movie.
Oh, so this happened, yeah, so they couldn't afford to lose the great Mark Richardson. Weren't you in that? Weren't you in Power Rangers Turbo, technically?
I was Lord Zed. When Rita is in bed and I'm next to her snoring, rocking back and forth, and she's talking to Divatox and says, this is what I put up with, and she puts the phone over to me, and all I had to do was rock back and forth. But the suit was made for a guy named Ed Neal, who's a stunt guy who does flips and over explosions. All I had to do was be in his suit and rock back and forth. And I remember I was scared to death because it's like being wrapped in an Ed Neal burrito. And but I couldn't back out because you have these stunt guys to do all these wonderful things, and all I had to do was lay there. So I did it, and I get to say I was Lord Zed in Turbo.
Were you in any other things of Power Rangers that we might have seen?
Yes.
Such as?
I was the cab driver in Amy Jo Johnson's last episode that the cab turns into a mother. I think it was called Krabby Cabby. I was the voice of Serpicon in Time Force. I was the werewolf in It Came From Angel Grove, and I talked him into doing it in black and white and doing it at night. And I played various roles as far as just background people every once in a while. But those I think are my strongest characters that I played on the time.
Thank you. So, and you did a lot of Sarah Connor. I have a fond memories of Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles. You have any fun or fantastic stories you got from that?
Well, that was during the last writer's strike, and we pretty much lost a lot of the funding by the end. It started off movie quality, but by the end of the show, they just didn't have the funds to do the explosions, the fully automatic weapons. In fact, I snuck into the writer's room and put less talk, more guns. It literally turned into, every day just killing Terminators, to Sarah Connor sitting at a coffee shop going, maybe we should kill Terminator. It got that boring. And Lena, she wanted out of it. By that time, she wanted to leave the show, so she was happy to leave. I worked with her afterwards. She wanted to direct comedy shorts. I was helping her out. But I think it was 2 weeks into that, she got the phone call for Game of Thrones, and she was gone. She's a great actress, so I love her.
Who doesn't? All right. Well, thank you, Mark. As I said, hold on 1 second. Action. So yeah, thank you, Mark. Guys, like I said, I have this really cool case full of like the prop coins that I bought from Mark during the pandemic. He hooked me up with a bunch of scripts and stuff too. Like Mark helped make the pandemic much more tolerable for me. When I was going through it a few years ago, he was one of the few people who checked on me once I got out of the hospital. Like Mark is one of the best people in this business I've ever met before, and he has the best stories, especially when like it comes to horror stuff, well beyond Power Rangers. Like Mark is more than just a one-topic dude, and I'm honored that he was able to take the time to let me interview him, stuff like that. So please follow his HorrorCon.
Horror Icon. It's HorrorIcana.
So make sure you follow that page over on Facebook. He's got the best stuff. And yeah, once again, thanks again, Mark. I'd shake your hand, but I got something.
We can do a little fist bump.
Yeah.